Well, what do you say I take you back in history a little bit? Maybe something you may recall, but then again, maybe you won't. Here's the deal. When I was young, growing back up and many, many years ago, you'd go and you'd get an iced tea or a Coke or whatever it is. So let's say you went to the big boy. Because remember, the big boys used to exist back years ago. And you'd get a Coke or a 7-Up or whatever you happen to like. Or some people even had tea. And they would give you a straw. And you would unwrap the straw and you'd put it in your tea or your coffee, but you'd kind of play with the straw a little bit. And you could actually bite down on the straw too, because the straw was kind of easy to work with because the straw was made of paper. Yes, it was kind of a wax-coated paper, but nonetheless, it was a paper straw. And it was kind of like a white and green color, or possibly a red and green color, depending on the store where you went to and what color straw they used. But it was a straw. Plain old everyday paper straw. Well, it turns out those were still being manufactured even today. But today, well, we're in August, but come October, the company that makes those straws is closing. It's called Hoffman Group. Hoffman Group was originally known as Aardvark Straws. I don't know back when they got started, but Aardvark Straws, well, those are the straws that were made back in the old days. But they were bought out by this Hoffman company up from Wisconsin back in 2018 and have been operating. But they recently have announced they're closing. Turns out that back in May, they issued what is known as a warn notice saying that, hey, we're going to be closing and laying people off. Required to do that. So come October, it's going to be 40 people laid off. And then back in November, another 7. Total of about 53 people are losing their job permanently because the straw manufacturing company here in Fort Wayne is closing. Now, you think about that. Paper straws, we don't use them anymore. You go now to any restaurant and you get your straw, you unpeel the paper on the outside, it's made of plastic. It's now having the flexible straws you can get. You buy at the store, those flexible things. Kids love those. But the paper straw that we have all used for, well, decades upon decades is now becoming an artifact of the past. And the company that made those, Aardvark Straws, became, well, Hoffman Group, is closing their doors and saying sayonara. And that's kind of sad when you think about it, something that everybody remembers in their youth, and yet the young people today, they wouldn't understand a paper straw. Matter of fact, paper straws, when you chewed on them enough, you could kind of break them down, you could kind of peel them open. And that's what the thing was. That was sort of a toy, if you will, something you played with. Paper straws you could bite into, you could bend and twist and whatever. And they were paper. You used them for all sorts of stuff. But nowadays, straws are all made of plastic. Now people have their own drinking straws, which are made of, well, bamboo, metal, whatever. But the paper straw has now taken its last breath as the Hoffman Group is shutting their doors and putting an end to the era that most of us grew up with who are, well, pretty old. Young folks have no idea what it was. But the death of the paper straw is now upon us with the closing of the Hoffman Group. And now you know.